I thought you were going to ask me, why do most rom-coms suck? And I'll tell you why most rom-coms suck. Most rom-coms suck because there's the mistaken belief that a rom-com is about creating obstacles for two people to keep them apart, because otherwise the film would be 12 minutes long. But that's not the way it is in life. In life, it's not about keeping you and David apart. It's about figuring out, once you're together, how you can possibly stay together without killing each other. So a rom-com, bad rom-coms focus on stupid events that arbitrarily keep two people apart. Where the best rom-coms, I just saw When Harry Met Sally the other day, because it's New Year's Eve. And really, the whole film is framed by these people, most of them elderly, recounting how they met the one. And there you see a guy who meets her when he's 21 and he doesn't realize it. So it's not about keeping them apart, it's about realizing who you are and what you want. And it's a wonderful moment in When Harry Met Sally, that they just they don't hate each other at first sight. In fact, they're kind of attracted to each other, but because they have these masks in front of them. She has the mask of a good girl. He has the mask of a world-traveled man. What my friend Michael Haig calls their identity. Because they're so locked into their identity, their masks, they can't be vulnerable enough to see who the other person really is. And it's only when his wife leaves him, when Billy Crystal's wife leaves him, in fact, has planned to leave him because, as soon as she tells him, the moving guys come up to move all her stuff out so she can go live with this accountant she's fallen in love with, that he becomes vulnerable enough to not always be condescending to the girl and to pretend that he knows everything. It's when he admits that he doesn't know everything, but he desperately still wants to be happy, that they start to become friends. It's just a wonderful, wonderful rom-com because it doesn't say love, it's love at first sight, because what you see in the framing device is you see two people who he was sure he's going to marry this woman when he first saw her. You see another couple who 37 years go by and then they meet each other again, and this time the right time is right. And Harry and Sally are right in the middle. They had to wait for the time to be right, but they were right for each other. So most rom-coms suck because they're too busy trying to create arbitrary false obstacles. And they load their films with "wouldn't it be funny if?" Silly things that somebody's thinking, wouldn't it be funny if? There's a film that I screen in the workshop. We screen a couple of scenes of it, Alex and Emma. Alex and Emma, the premise of Alex and Emma is Alex, Luke Wilson, is a writer. And he's also a gambler. He owes the mob $100,000. But he's going to get $125,000 when he finishes his manuscript. But he hasn't written one word of it. And in a previous scene, the mobsters, to threaten him, throw his laptop out the window. And I guess because there's no other laptops in New York, he comes up with a great idea to hire a stenographer. He's going to dictate an entire novel in 30 days. Okay, you buy the premise, you don't buy the premise, but it sets up, Kate Hudson comes up, she's the stenographer, she's kind of uptight, professional, a little cautious. She goes to his apartment, and he's supposedly this law firm, and he says, "Why don't you come in?" And she says, "I don't want to come in. This doesn't look like a law firm. It doesn't even look like a nice place to live." And so he starts to, Luke Wilson starts to make up a story about how they're between offices, and then, in a wouldn't it be funny moment, he faints at her feet. And you might think, well, what wins for him? What does he really want to do? Why doesn't he just say, "Listen, I owe some guys $100,000. I have to dictate a novel in 30 days." And most people will say, well, because if he just says that, the movie's over. But why would the movie be over? Why would she say, "Okay"? Uh, and what she does is she says, the guy's lying on her feet, and she says, "Oh, here I am with a dead lawyer lying on my feet." And I ask the women in my workshops, "Well, what would you do?" And some say, "I'd run away." Really good Samaritans. Others would say, I'd knock on some neighbor's doors, or I'd call 911. Somebody would say, I'd check to see if he's alive. And I'd say, if you were cautious and professional, how would you check to see if he's alive? He says, well, I might, just touch his neck, or I might, kind of toe him, see if he moves, see if he's still alive. But in the movie, what happens is Kate Hudson, after the line, "What am I going to do with a dead lawyer lying on my foot?" Okay, and she picks him up by the family jewels. She picks up his two legs like a wheelbarrow, and cracking wise the whole time, she drags him into his apartment. And it's like, why would she possibly want to do that? How is that cautious and uptight and professional? It's just something that somebody put in there. I don't know whether it's the writers or director or the actors, because somebody thought, wouldn't it be funny if? But that's a terrible way to write a comic screenplay. Not wouldn't it be funny if, but who are your characters? What do they want? What are they willing or able to do to get what they want? And if you simply follow your characters, what Bill Prady calls, who's the executive producer of The Big Bang Theory, who says, I don't even have premises. I don't even have situations. I start with a simple situation, and then I just follow my characters and see what they say. Like he's a reporter writing dictation. Just figure out what your characters want, because the less, not realistic, but believable, the less believable your characters are, if they give up believability to do something, wouldn't it be funny if, then you're not going to care about them when you need to care about them.